Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to go through and tier rank every book that I've ever read that I've documented. I have them documented on my Fable, and then some of these are just some that I've remembered that I read, like the Hunger Games I read when I was in middle school. And I know I put them in like the 4-star category, which you'll see. But I think instead of the 4-star category, I think I'm going to put them in, I can't remember what I rated them. And then I want to reread them because I do want to reread them. So the first book that I have is called The Plants, and I gave this a 3-star. And then the next one is going to be Violent Bent Backwards Over the Grass by Lana Del Rey, and I gave that 5 stars, which is like only one of the other poetry books besides Ruby Car that I've given 5 stars to. And then I have Ashes Over Love, which I gave a 4 stars. And then The Resurrectionist is next, which when I read it at the time, I gave it like a 3, but I think it would be more of like a 2-star and lower now, just because it was like boring. And then Genuine Fraud, I gave a 3. And then I have The Virgin Suicides, which I gave a 4, but I would honestly love to go back and reread this one and see if maybe I can bump it up or bump it down, or see if it stays the same. And then the next one I have is the Fifth Wave series. So it's the Fifth Wave, The Infinite Sea, and The Last Star. These I read when I was in middle school, but I can't remember what I rated them. And I wouldn't mind rereading them because when I first read them, I got confused by the timelines. And then I have The Sun Is Also a Star, which at the time I gave like a 4 or 5, but I think now it would be a 3. And then Everything by the same author, I gave a 4. And I think it would still be a 4. And then I have Savage Appetites, which definitely is a 2-star or lower, but also I probably could have DNF'd. And then I have Where the Crawdads Sing, which I gave a 3. Then I have Circe, which I also gave a 3. And then I also have The Song of Achilles by her that I gave a 3 as well. And then I have Psycho, which I gave a 4. And then I have The Martian, which I put in 5 stars. And then I have the Hunger Games series. I put all of them in the 4 stars, but like I mentioned in the intro, I probably would just put them in the can't remember, want to reread, to see if maybe the 4 stars still holds, or if they're 3 or 5. And then the next one I have is Icebreaker, which is also a 4. And then Iced Out was a 5-star read for me. Or no, I switched this. It was Iced Out as a 4, and you'll see later Trick Play is the 5-star, so you'll see later that I switched them. And then The Great Gatsby is always over a 5-star read for me. I absolutely love The Great Gatsby. Again, Milk and Honey, Rupi Kaur, 5-star. An Unquiet Mind is a memoir, and I don't rate memoirs, so that's why it's a no rating. If He Had Been With Me, I originally gave this a 3, and I still put in the 3, but it might be lower than that. Final Girl Support Group, I also gave it 3 stars. Or no, I gave it a 4-star, not 3. And then We Were Liars, when I originally read it, it was a 5-star read. But I think now I would put it in maybe the 3 or 4-star range. But I kind of want to reread it since she is coming out with a new one in that. And then Swimming Lessons We Know I gave a 3. Wildfire I gave a 4 as well. And then next is Maybe Meant to Be by K.L. Walther. I gave that a 4 stars when I read it. And then I have Someone Somewhere Maybe. I gave this one either a 3 or 4. I think I gave it a 4. And then Beach Read I also gave a 4, but I would like to reread it. And then Bright Young Women I also gave a 3. And then there's Artemis by Andy Weir, which I also gave a 5. I love his writing, and I love the sci-fi writing that he does. And then this is This Side of Paradise, which I gave a 3. And then I gave Daydream a 4, so close to a 5. And Happy Place I gave a 5. And then I have The Midnight Club, which I believe I gave a 3. And then I gave Diary of an Oxygen Thief. I gave that a 3-star. or a 4-star. I thought I gave it a 3. I probably would bump it down to a 3 now, just because I don't think like Chameleon in a Candy Store and Eunuchs and Nymphomaniacs, which are the 2 other books to the series, I think I would give those 3s as well. And then The Last Tycoon, I gave a 4. And then again, The Sun and All Our Flowers, which is another Ruby Car, 5 stars. And then you'll see Milk and Honey and Homebody are also going to be 5 stars. That one was We Hope This Reaches You in Time, which was a 4. And then Magnolia Parks is always a 5, so all of those will go in there. And then Done and Dusted was a 4. I gave the Bomber Mafia, which is like a nonfiction World War II book, a 5-star because I really enjoyed it. And then Salem's Lot, I gave 4 stars. I gave Cleopatra and Frankenstein 4 stars. I gave The Intern 4 stars. I gave Someone Inside Your House 4 stars. I gave A Book of Cold Cases 3 stars. I gave The Summons a 4. That's by John Grisham. So this is where I switched Ice Out into the 4-star like I mentioned earlier, and I put Trick Play in the 5-star because I got the novella and the novel mixed up on the ratings. And then I put The Fury in 4, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn in 4 stars, Little Monsters is a 4 stars, Summer of Broken Rules was a 5, Only Survivors was a 3-star, What Happens After Midnight is also going to be a 4-star, and then I have Malibu Rising, which was in the 4 stars as well. And then again, Eunuchs and Nymphomaniacs, I put in the 3-star. And then, like I mentioned before, Chameleon in a Candy Store, I thought I gave 3, but I guess I gave it 4. I'd probably just bump it to a 3, like I mentioned with Diary of an Oxygen Thief. And then Family of Liars, which is the second book to We Were Liars, like the prequel, I gave a 3. Turtles All the Way Down, I put in 3 because it was like a 4 or 5 when I first read it, but now it would probably be a 3. Same with Before the Coffee Gets Cold and the Inheritance Games. I also gave those a 3, and I'm not continuing the Inheritance Games series, which I've mentioned in a previous video. And then A Time to Kill, I gave a 4. And then The Soulmate, I gave a 3. 7,300 Days, I gave a 4. And Safe Haven, I gave a 4. And The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I gave that over 5 stars also. I absolutely loved that book. Again, Magnolia Park series, always a 5-star. So you'll see Magnolia Parks, Daisy Hates, Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home, and Daisy Hates The Great Undoing in this category because I have not read Into the Dark yet. But I do plan on trying to get to it this year, as I want to finish out the Magnolia BJ part of the series before she brings out the 2 other Daisy Hates books that she's going to be doing. And then Looking for Alaska, I believe I gave it a 4 stars when I read it. The Alchemist, I gave a 3. Shipwrecks of the Outer Banks, I gave a 5. I absolutely love that nonfiction as well. The Silent Patient, I gave it a 5 at the time, but I think now it would be a 4. The Wager, I gave a 3 because it wasn't my favorite. I gave In My Dreams I Hold a Knife and Safe Haven or Nights in Rodanthe a 4. And then obviously the other 2 books in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, so Swift and Saddled and Lost and Lassoed, also 4 stars. That was every book that I've ever read tier ranked. And don't forget to leave a comment and let me know what other kinds of videos you'd like to see from me. And don't forget to like and subscribe either.